Let's talk about boss strike formations. That seems to be the biggest question members have in guilds is what kind of formation should I set up? And it really depends on your units. It also depends on what you're fighting against. Since we're fighting against critters and raiders, they do not like fire. So you want to use units fire or chemical. The downside to that is that some of the chemical units right now need vials to heal, and we don't have an endless supply of those. So we run into some trouble about how long we can sustain using those chemical units. If you have a crap ton of money and can spend endlessly on nanopods, well, you can just keep buying them jokers. But for the rest of us, we are kind of stuck with once it's dead and we run out of the resources, we got to find something to replace it and quickly. So let's talk about some of those formations. Let's look together and do a little in this video right here. You can see that I'm fighting, I'm not fighting raiders, but this is the only one where I could get 12 units on the board. We should have the opportunity to have 13 units on the board, which is going to be better. So let's just talk about those. So on your front line, meat shields is a pretty important unit that you're going to want to have up front. But you don't want to just have a whole wall of meat units because there's some other units that'll be helpful to take out certain units in the beginning. You just have to strategically place it. I'd say 2 to 3 meat shields on the front would be sufficient. In this pattern that you see here, I'm using 3 wimps. That's as most wimps as you can use. If you don't have R6 wimps, you do not want to use wimps on the front line. You'll want to put something else up there, maybe salamanders, or maybe you want to do the armadillo or any of the other things. I'll show you some of the meat shields in just a minute. But this is kind of a setup that should be decent to get you through the levels. Now, I don't anticipate that there'll be no losses because we just don't have powerful enough units yet to go through all 5 waves and not take losses. So we're going to lose stuff. So it's just a matter of losing the least. And then when something dies, what do you replace it with? So as you can see in my example here, I'm using, so my front rows, I have the meat shields, and then I'm throwing some wimps in there to try to help knock out some units early on. The second row, I kind of call my mass damage row, where I'm trying to find units that are going to use the most damage to the field, who can basically hit more than one unit at a time. A good one is the heavy chem tanks here. So if we look at this, the heavy chem tank has 2 attacks. This first attack is going to hit multiple units on the board here, unless there's a wall and or something that's blocking, and then it can't go past that blocking unit. But its second attack here can go over walls all the way to the back, so you can kind of target units with this chem tank with its second attack. The other thing is the vet. The vet's going to be able to hit multiple units on the first or second row, but it can't really go penetrate with these first 2 shots through anything on the front row. But its third shot over here can get to the second row and can get over walls. So it's a very nice unit to do. And it also does very decent damage against anything that's got like tank-like qualities. So you don't necessarily have that with raiders, but some of the raiders do have cannon mammoths and stuff like that, and it'll do pretty decent against those units. Also, the vet has a high chance of dodging, and that's something you'll really appreciate if they waste an attack on him and it just dodges it. Boom, there you go. So mass damage units, something like that. The Demo Man also has an attack that hits 5 places on the board, and if you've got him ranked up, he's not bad. He also does, I think it has a chance to do, on this first attack, on the second attack, it has a chance to do fire DOT damage for 5 turns, so 60% chance. So that's nice, and I already told you fire damage is going to do very well in this boss strike, so you're going, that is another unit that will be useful. Plus, he has a high dodge as well. So does that mean you're not gonna, he's gonna survive all 5 rounds? Well, I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. You need to have multiple options. And some other options that you can have in this situation is, let's just show you some different examples of this setup here. Let me go back to Doug here. All right, let's say you have super tanks or you have heavier tanks. Either one of those. You can set up 3 units on the front row, and then you can put two wimps on the side there, and just use 2 wimps in the battle. Say you don't have the wimps, you can do these guys, and you can put in, let's say, you can use your turtle shellers on the front row. They'll be nice meat shields, also armadillos. And also another unit not to count out is the salamander. If you have him ranked up pretty nicely, he may be a good front row unit. Just realize you're probably going to lose 1 to 2 salamanders pretty regularly. They do withstand pretty decent damage and can last, but I imagine by the fourth round, fourth wave, somebody's going to pick him off and take him out. So be willing to heal these guys and swap them out for something else while he's in the hospital. But you'll want to use fire damage as much as you can in say circumstance like that. Something else, if you're a lower rank, and you're fighting easier battles, then you'll want these guys on the front row. And don't be afraid to throw the sandbags in there, because it's just an attack that they're something that they're going to waste hitting that guy. And whatever doesn't kill your people, and sandbags are easy and fast to heal. You can heal them while you're waiting for the next battle, and then and throw them back in there. So also something on the next row, if you have for mass damage, is great, is the lightning dragoons. They are good for it. You could also say you can't do more than 3. So another formation you might want to do, these walls. If you have walls, they can substitute in for tanks or what have you. Just remember that a lot of these things take gears to heal, and if you don't have a lot of those, just be careful. They're going to end up in the hospital, and I'd suggest don't even try to heal them unless you have the resources to keep sustaining doing that. Otherwise, I would just say hold off. Once it dies, just leave it dead for a while and focus on healing the troops that are more important to keep you in the battle. This guy right here, the soldier, is good for doing mass damage. You can see that if he's ranked up, he can hit to the second row and do mass damage. So he can be a specialty unit that you have there. He can even go on the back row and hit stuff all the way to the second or third row. So he's nice in the back to single out units and also do some kind of mass damage. He's not going to last very long. He's going to die pretty quickly, but he's also somebody I believe that you can heal. So your heavies can make good meat shields as well if you're at lower levels. If you're at a higher level, he's not going to last. He's not going to last very long at all. I wouldn't recommend to put in there. This guy is the unmanned flame turret is pretty nice because he can hit. It's a selectable area all the way from the second row. If he's on the second row behind a meat shield, he can hit all the way to the second row as long as there's an opening there that nobody's there. He can't go through anybody, but if there's a crack there, he can go in between the crack and hit the 3 guys that are behind him with fire damage, and it'll burn for 5 turns, which is nice because you can be focusing on something else while those guys are just burning alive. It's so cool, right? So he is good, and one of the nice things about the unmanned flame turret is cheap nanos, and to heal, it's just some gold. There's hardly anything to get this guy healed back up. So he's very nice resource to heal. So also another guy you don't want to count out on. You can put chem tanks on the front row, but I think you're going to lose unless if you got a lot of them and you got a lot of vials built up. Maybe go for it, but otherwise, I would put him in the back just because you're going to lose them every round if you put him on the front. If you put him on the front row. Chuckers is also a nice back row unit. I'll get to those in a minute, but we're kind of jumping around. If you don't have wimps, but you have these unmanned machine turrets, these are nice to use on the front or second row behind. You can even put him behind a meat shield and he'll help chew up that front row. Now, if you're dealing with a lot of walls, he's not going to be very helpful. So I'd kind of go into it and see what what it starts to look like. And if it looks like he just can't hit nothing on the board because there's walls everywhere, then maybe he's not worth putting in until you get desperate because you have a ton of them. But it ain't a bad idea to have one of those guys or two of those guys thrown in. If you don't have wimps, you can throw these guys on the side. You can have up to 3 of these on the board. But do remember, when everything else dies, if you have 3 unmanned things, the game's over. As soon as they kill the last unit on the board, the torrents don't count as a unit. They're just count as they're just there. So the battle ends and you'll be at a defeat, and you'll still get to claim your points, which is nice. These light chem tanks are nice in that it can hit a whole row from anywhere you want to put this guy. But the one thing I do say is that also he's weak and he's going to need a lot to heal. So if you've got a bunch of them and you want to go through them, but you don't want to waste your vials on them, just let him go to the hospital and sit there. Don't heal him yet. Save your vials for the heavy chem tank, or and if you have a bunch of them, go for it. But it will do great damage against the units, but I don't know at a higher level if he's going to be effective. If at lower levels, he might juice through the whole board for you and help you out. Um, so we talked about the goons. We talked about oh, here's another guy. Field agents are pretty nice for hitting everybody. Dog just heard somebody. Field agents are nice for putting on the whole board and hitting everybody, and also stunning units. So if they're ranked up pretty good, they're nice units. They are weak though, so when something hits the board with mass damage, they're going to die pretty quickly. And you need bars, I believe it's bars, to heal him. So use them up, but just as soon as those resources are gone, you got to decide if those bars are better spent on him or better spent on some other specialty units. So you're going to have to make that determination. Other good ideas at lower levels, peacekeepers can be decent meat shields at lower levels when they're ranked up. So you can use him. The Imperial Peacemonger is also a big tank that sits on the front row. You're going to want to turn their you make sure you use their attacks that do the most damage and not the one that locks them up for the for the missions, because those aren't as useful. These demolitionists, good units for the back row because they can do a lot of attacks, like 4 in a row with pretty decent damage. How well they'll fare against the units that we're fighting is to be determined, but that's also something that you might think about for the back row. You can put these chem troopers on the front row because the chem damage will do great against raiders and critters, but also they're pretty weak, so they get taken out. So lower levels probably be good. Upper levels, they're just going to end up in the hospital pretty quickly, and I believe they're vials too. On that to heal, I think all the chemical units need vials to heal. This guy, if the pyro, if you have some of those guys and they're ranked up, they'll do pretty decent damage. He can go on pretty much anywhere on the board you want to, and he does decent fire damage as well. I think he's also one of those guys that use bars to heal. So let's see. Chuckers are great also on the back row. They're not going to take a lot of damage. They're gonna, if they get hit, they go out pretty easily, but they also do a lot of crits against units and stuff. I'd say those are decent back row units. I wouldn't put tank killers in there just because they're so weak and too expensive to heal, kind of thing. So um, if you're rank 30 and under and your tanks are limited, you might have to use some of these guys as your meat shields, which isn't bad. They'll do a decent job as well, so they can be meat shields on the front row as well. I wouldn't spend a lot of nanopods on tanks before you get to the super tank because you're not going to use the medium tank. You're just not. The super tanks will actually take you into late game play. It and the mega tank, prefer the mega tank, but it and the mega tank both are pretty great units, and it's cheaper to heal the super tank anyway. So I would hold off to get that. This heavy recon, if you have a bunch of those, can do fire damage to a row, and it can also be a second row unit, and it's also got this attack that can hit checkerboard pattern over the whole board, which is nice. But also that is a weak unit that gets taken out pretty easily. Those can be also mass damage units. And on the back row, you kind of want to focus on units that can do a lot of damage to one unit and that can hit most anywhere on the board. Because what you want is a unit that can take you it can take out a unit that you're like, okay, this unit usually wipes out a bunch of my units that I need, and he does a lot of damage. You'll usually find out right off the bat. You'll be like, "Ooh, he just killed," and you'll be like, "I hate that unit." That's the unit you need to take out in the beginning of the round. Just use somebody on the back row as soon as you get that opportunity to. Usually they need to build up the rounds, but then as soon as you do a few chemical attacks or something from the mid level, and you're watching people burn, and you get the opportunity, try to take out that unit that's going to do the most damage, or that's going to single out somebody in the middle or back row and take out one of your units in one shot. Try to get them off the board, and that's kind of what I use the back row as my specialty units. Now let's look at some of the other units I don't have, but you can also use. Let's see. Let's go into here. I only been playing still about 2 months, so I don't have everything yet, and I don't have everything ranked up yet. The marksman is a decent unit that you can use on the back row to help take out certain things, and you're going to need to use some of these shots that don't have direct line of fire, like precise, which can hit pretty much anywhere. Uh, you want the shot that can hit anywhere on the board. The turtle sheller, the ninja trooper can also hit in the back. I'm not saying go out and buy these units. I'm saying if you already have them. The hitman salamander does the fire damage, is pretty nice as long as it's ranked up. The lightning troopers, lightning dragoons, those are great units for the middle row. They're just very expensive, and I haven't had a chance to build up enough bars to get an army of those guys yet. The gorilla is another great unit for the back row. I just opened these up and haven't had a chance to purchase him yet. So he's not going to be ranked up, so I'm not even going to focus on him right now for this boss strike. And as far as if you're going in here, it's not going to let me go too far because of the oh well, they fixed that glitch not too long ago. If you were building something, you just couldn't scroll past the first few pages, and you couldn't see anything past it. So the brutalizer, I wouldn't say is going to be good for this boss strike. He'll do a lot of damage real quickly, but he's going to end up in the hospital. The lightning tank, though, is something that opens up at 49. I believe, yes, 49. And I'm 49, but I haven't ranked up my vehicle factory that high yet. The frostbite will be decent. I just don't think in the long run, it might be okay. I'm not sure about the frostbite, to be honest. Well, I'll have to see if somebody's using it and see if it's any good. So if anybody's got that guy ranked up and it's working for you in your formation, let me know. Same way for the lightning tank. That's going to be like the dragoons and other things. You can put that back there, and he can hit a bunch of units at the same time. Also, he just opened up to me. I don't have him ranked up, so most units aren't very effective in the beginning. Hospitals and repair bays right here. This is your bread and butter. You're going to want to save like one hospital just to do like wimps, and one repair bay just to do your unmanned machine gun turrets and things that are really fast. And then your other two you're going to want to open up. You're going to keep open and put like your tanks and your meat shields in there, because they usually take longer to heal, and you want two of those open so they're constantly building those, and they're not backing up so you can't heal other units that are quicker. Build as many of those guys as that you can get, and also rank them up, because if they're not ranked up, Basically, it triples your time to heal everything and just puts you back in a bind. Anyway, right now I'm focusing on ranking them up. They're not there yet, but I'm trying. I'm really trying, and I hope everybody does great during the boss strike. I just a lot of you guys, your units are ranked up way higher than me, so you're gonna see more success as you go through your waves. I believe because I don't. I think the intel is that we're not getting any special units, any promo units for boss strike, which is unheard of. Guys, I don't know too much about Madrona. I just know a lot about Battle Nations, and the promo unit was a unit that was specifically supposed to help you with the boss strike. Sometimes it didn't at all, and sometimes it really did, and it really was a nice unit, and it was exciting thing to look forward to ranking up in the boss strike. And they usually came pre-ranked at a level, depending on what level you were, they come pre-ranked to that level, which was nice. They only took a few seconds to build, and depending on the limitations that they had. But they're usually pretty good, and they generate some excitement. So I'm kind of sad to see if we don't get a promo unit, but I still appreciate you guys for putting this game together. We're excited about it. We're excited about the boss strike, and I look forward to it till probably about day 3 when I'm exhausted and my wife asks me, "What are you doing with your life?" I have no answers. Just sit there and weep while I poke the buttons one more time on the screen. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that this has helped a little bit, and you can post some of your formations that you think are going to be successful down in the comments, and we can all make fun of them. No, I'm kidding. We can look at those, and maybe it'll be helpful because everybody's got different units that they've kind of focused on. So maybe somebody's got a formation that's even better. But all right, guys, good luck, and I hope we have a great weekend coming up.